everyone, welcome to Skottie Talk with Tyler and Dustin, and I almost forgot my name for a second, and special guest Seth Traub, the one and only. He says there's another one out there, but I haven't seen any evidence.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
He says there's another one out there, but I haven't seen any evidence.
We're getting some echoing there.
Yeah, that's because I had my phone turned on like an amateur that I am. I was like, what is going on? Seth, glad to have you on. We've been talking for about a half hour now, but we'll act like this is the first time we've met. Thank you for coming on, and we appreciate you watching all these times, but hopefully this will be a fun show for you as well.
Yeah, about to say, now you don't have to comment. You can be here live commenting, so.
Thanks for having me.
And it was fun meeting you. It was fun. It's just, like the same as Dustin getting to meet him at Heroes Con. It's always fun getting to meet people in person. So it was the same getting to meet you and your brother at Megacon. So especially seeing all the sweet pieces you picked up that we'll get to check out later. So
appreciate it. Yeah, it was good to meet you, and I had some fun sitting and trying to win some art and getting really close, and seeing what you picked up, because man, I'll tell you, it's when you're trying to one up each other, I'm sure.
I know. Yeah. It was so funny. Yeah. Cause when I ran into Matt and Nikki, who were there as well, they were like, yeah, you were first on the commission list. We had to get in behind you. And I was like, oh, I wasn't trying to be first. I just want to get in my commission. So everybody's joining in.
Yeah. Say hey to Corey. We got Corey, Daniel,
yep.
Zach, and Ryan have all joined us. Those names are all familiar, our usual suspects. Thank you guys for coming on. And I can't do anything tonight, man. I'm sorry, guys. I had something I was going to do real quick, and Fat Finger Dustin cannot get anything together. All right, real quick before we get into our show, because we don't have anything to talk about much tonight.
Breaking news.
Yeah, someone, I'm not going to say who, but someone sent me a leak to the number 70 Amazing Spider-Man, Deaths of Spider-Man cover.
So I forgot about this.
Oh, you'll remember.
I forgot you were going to do this. Oh, goodness.
I did too until about an hour ago. So this is don't tell anybody that you all saw it here. I know Skottie and Megan probably want to surprise everybody, but
look at that.
Now I'll have to explain what it is.
Property of Felicia. It's a cat.
Yeah. It's a cat. It's a cat. Can you tell the fur? The nice grain that was.
I thought it was maybe a bear or something at first. The mouse definitely helped solidify that it was a cat. So,
well, if you look to the right of the screen, there's a ball of yarn that was drawn and erased.
Oh, okay.
It looked like a plate of spaghetti, and I thought, yeah, we don't want to confuse everybody, but. I even did an overlay. So, yeah, please don't tell anybody that you all saw it here first. I definitely don't want to get Skottie or Megan in trouble.
Yeah, they're gonna hate this. So,
yeah.
Honestly, I really hope now though that it is a cat. Like that, honestly, is such a fantastic idea for, like, Spider-Man's a cat toy or something. Or
that's what I was getting.
As soon as you posted, I was like, my mind went like a million different ways. So I hope this is indeed one of the. Do we have one more or two more? One more, I think.
This is the last one that they'll post. And I now wonder if Skottie does do the cat with the arm, if he has to put after Dustin Whitney on there
yeah.
So
you're gonna have to reprint him and everything. Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna cost a lot of money. So yeah, this is a blow.
Is this art for sale? Is this for sale?
Yes, I will pay you $10 to take it.
That call did so fast, I didn't even think about it.
Prints. There will be prints sold on the show, Nick. No, we don't any cease and desist letters. So that would be embarrassing to be like, all right, the court presents us like, what do you want to show? What are you being sued over? And they see it, and there's just the jury starts laughing. I can't do that. So, all right,
oh man, that's great.
Cody 2025 right there, cover of the year. So
100%.
Yeah, I'm sure Skottie's not going to lose any sleep over that one. All right. All right, let's move on to some stuff that's a little more interesting than
Megacon. Yeah, I was telling Dustin, I love that I was front and center with representing the Twilight fandom. Dustin wanted to make sure to get that out there that, again, he has no affiliation or desire to be affiliated with the Twilight fandom in any way, shape, or form. But Yeah, no, it was super fun. This was there we go. Get that banner up there again. This was I think my 8th year there, going since 2010, off and on throughout the years, and it was great. I got, the first thing I went up to was Brett's booth. Seth beat me to it. He got got in earlier than I did, so I had to deal with seconds. But thankfully, Brett was there when I arrived, so we got to hit it off. I got on the commission list, as we'll see later on. And in the course of celebrity stuff, we met the cast of Twilight who played the Cullens. They're super popular with my wife and sister-in-law, so. And even myself, we've watched those movies. They put them on. And I've just come to accept it now at this point in my life. So they were super great. They were really nice to me. We ended up getting all their autographs. Jared Padalecki from Supernatural, he was super cool. Again, that's my sister-in-law there. So I was like, just kind of like, what can you do? And he played along with it. He was like, here, get closer, and pushed me away. So that was really fun. And then Ella Purnell, that my wife and sister-in-law met, the voice of Jinx from Arcane, that's the charms above them. We love Arcane. That was one of our top searches this year at the Comic-Con, was anything Arcane, art print, pins, charms, all that stuff. So, and also Fallout. She was the lead actress in Fallout. So they got to meet her.
I was going to ask you about that one, because you had told me, you had really built up the Twilight picture. But I was like, man, the Fallout girl was there, and you didn't get your picture made with her.
I know, yeah.
Really
I thought about joining, but I wanted them to do, because they're repping Jinx and Vi. They're the sisters from the show. Vi's voice actress wasn't there. Oh goodness, I'm blanking on the name. But I was like, and I'll let it be a sister thing. I'll let you two get in. I won't, jump in there with you. So I let them have that one. That one was interesting. She was very nice. But it seems all of her photos are just like, you can't touch. They say don't touch. Just stand next to her, get your photo taken. So I like that they ended up kind of taking this really awkward like prom picture, something like their hands are they're just kind of like, all right, and I'm like, that's what y'all ended up with. So I always like to have a plan going in with I always like to kind of make it fun, if we can. So doing Jared's photo, we did something similar with Tom Hiddleston the previous year. We're like hugging Tom Hiddleston. Like, I'm pushing my wife away. Like, no, I'm going to get to hug Tom. Like, you don't get to hug him. And he laughed at that as he looked at us. So it was a blast. The picture was from Thursday. That was the line I jumped into that Seth got to avoid, but it honestly wasn't too bad. It passed pretty quickly, letting us in. But I sent it to my dad. My dad was like, screw that. And I was like, this is only Thursday. It's going to get a lot worse. So
I wanted to point out the apple, because in the picture that it's really hard to see in this picture here of the group, but that's that's why I'm sorry I went back to the first one.
Oh no, yeah.
Is everyone holding an apple?
Yeah, so it's like a big thing with the books and in the movie too. But like one of the covers, they're like holding an apple in their palm. But funny enough, for some reason, my wife had bought these incredibly tiny apples, like an inch big. And so she, like the night before, she's like, we should bring these apples and have them hold them. And I was like, this is really dumb. But we did it anyways. And they were a game that we walked in with the apples and we're like, would you mind holding them? And they were like, yeah, of course. Like, that's not the weirdest request we've gotten. So they all held them. You can't really tell, but the second to the right there, he was like pretending to bite it. That's Jackson. He was the funnest out of the whole group. But yeah, no, so we're like just holding these tiny apples, and I was like, this is really silly. But like I said, they were, totally game for it. So,
and I will add, Tyler, your apple was the biggest. It was like really shiny, and it was like, man,
was it?
that was a perfect.
We gave the run to for some reason, like everyone kind of like separate. I split the C for some weird reason. Like they just kind of left me in the middle by myself and like leaned to the left or right. So after the photo, I was like, whatever, I guess I'm just front and center. So
it was a cool picture. That was a cool op. And Tyler, do you want to handle the slides, because you'll kind of control?
Yeah, no, yeah, I guess I can easily go through. So I'll continue the Twilight stuff and then go to the next. But yeah, those are the selfies we took with Jackson, again, one of the actors from the movie, and he was super fun. He would actually take the camera and take it himself. And that bottom one, he's really well known for this movie, always making this really pained, big-eyed, silly expression. And so I knew that he was asking people to do that. And so I was like, guys, we got to be prepared. And my sister-in-law was like, I'm not going to do that face. I was like, but if he asked you, you got to do it. And so he asked us, and like we all immediately like did the weird face, and he like busted out laughing. He was like, "You guys were really quick with that," and I was like, "Yeah, we had to prep. We saw you doing it." So he was really cool. And then the bottom left was really cool. That was Brett's panel that Seth got to sit next to me too. We got to watch Brett and Derek Hunter do their versus panel. So they did 2 drawings each, and I got some pictures as well as some video, which I'll be posting in the Facebook group so everybody can see it. But it's a video of him drawing his Godzilla there, which he ended with a cute little heart coming off of it. That's when I was really hoping I would win. Unfortunately, I did not.
What did Derek draw during the art off there? I think you took a picture and I didn't post it though.
One of them actually, Seth's brother was the winner of the one piece. It was Carl from Walking Dead, a really cool zombified Carl. I'll get some internet issues there. Yeah, it was zombie Carl, and then I'm trying to remember what the other one was. Like I said, they did 2. The other one Brett did was a cute monster that he's so well known for drawing. But yeah, Derek's other piece, I'm blanking on at the moment for some unknown reason. Oh, Spider-Man. It was a Spider-Man. Yeah. So.
I will pop in. Becker just popped in. I don't know if y'all went by the 4C table at any time during the con. Ken wore a shirt with Becker on it on the first day of the show. So I wanted to add that to the show, and I completely forgot until I saw his name pop up there. But Becker's kind of well known for reminding everybody of the $25 shipping and the 4% fees that go with 4C. So Ken Carson, the owner of 4C, had a picture of Becker on his shirt saying that quote. So
that's hilarious.
I apologize for not posting that as well, Becker. But
no, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a super great panel. Derek and Brett got asked some great questions, had some great answers. And in that middle one was just the Mezco booth. My friend's a really big toy collector, so I got some more up close ones of that as some TMNT toys they had, Fantastic Four toys, and that was a blast. And then some fun cosplays. I didn't get near enough pictures, but I wanted to point out the Darth Maul there, which looked amazing, by the way. Funny enough, I actually follow them on TikTok, and they post like these thirst trap videos where he'll because he's a good looking guy, and he'll make kind of videos like they even posted when they did it at Megacon. So I was like, "You're on TikTok, right?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, I figured that you were the Darth Maul I saw." But a cool Eddie, a really cute Eevee that was massive and was just waddling around the convention. And then the other stuff is just some art. There was amazing Treasure Planet piece from an artist who actually works on, has got some art in the game Lorcana, the Disney card game, which my wife and I play and collect. So that was a really great piece. And then the JB Not, that's a meme with the Arcane fandom between 2 characters. That was their tip jar, which we thought was funny. So I, of course, had to grab a picture of that. You could put it in either one. So the Eddie too there in the middle, they had like the authentic guitar, they said too, like that was like legit. I think like either the replica they sold, because I think they sold some actual guitars based off of that design. So yeah, no, it was super cool. I don't ever nearly take enough pictures as I should. I'm just such an in the moment person where I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I need to be taking photos to talk about on this week's episode.
Now you took it. Seth or Tyler had forwarded me a link to all the pictures he was posting. So even though I wasn't at MegaCon, between Tyler and Seth keeping me kind of well informed of what was going on, I felt like I was there. And Grant, I've actually invited Grant to be on the show sometime in March or April. He's the owner of Nirvana Comics there in Knoxville, Tennessee. And these were some of the pictures of him and his team there, and the different pictures there. And one of the cool things, which the Hulk, I like the Hulk front and center, but if you all remember, Nirvana Comics was I'll make sure I read it right, the first Image Comics Select Retailer Award, where they had the gold foil Ain't No Grave #1. And it was really cool. They took that to get signed, not just by Skottie. Whenever I think they got it signed by Skottie at Heroes last year, but they got it signed by Todd McFarlane, who is the president of Image Comics. So that was a nice little touch on there to that, and such a cool comic. I love that comic, and I really want to get Grant on just to discuss how that came to be for them to be the first kind of the inaugural comic shop retailer to be able to have that variant.
Yeah, when I saw the image, I was kicking myself because I totally forgot to go by their booth and tell them how cool it was. That not only did they get that first, award, but they chose that comic specifically to get the gold cover 4. So
did they have a booth?
They had one, right, Dustin? I thought you said, or
yes, yeah, they were with Grant had told me. Shoot.
Yeah, I wish I would have stopped. I would have stopped by because they have a couple exclusives that I've seen them do over the last year or so that I really liked.
Oh, they were partnered up with. They were there with Capture Collectibles booth, so they were kind of sharing a booth there. So
I even walked by Capture Collectibles. Yeah. That's where Matt and Nikki were. So I looked for them at one point. So I just walked right by them then.
Yeah, me too. A bunch of times.
But they'll probably be. Hopefully, both of you guys will be at Heroes this summer. So I'm sure they'll be back there again since Knoxville's very close in proximity to where Heroes is at. So. Let's see. Brian Singleton, a member of the Skottie Young Appreciation Group, he got to meet Todd McFarlane and got a comic marked up, autographed. And one of the McFarlane, I believe that's McFarlane's dad. He's got a Diamond Select McFarlane, the one that looks like the comic issue. But he got it signed on the Hulk's leg with a McFarlane signature. So I love having a statue signed. And Todd, if you've watched Todd sign stuff before, since he's a toy maker, he likes to pick a really good spot for the signature, and of course, he picked a really great spot there for that one.
Yeah, it was cool. I walked by his booth when he was there signing. It was only a few feet away, and I was just like, man, that's really cool to see. Because I didn't realize it was his first time at Megacon. He posted about that, so really cool to have him there. Somebody with such a big name and such a notoriety. So.
Yeah, there was one member of the sketch group on Facebook. I don't know if you saw that he got Todd to do a little Spider-Man sketch in his jam. And I thought, what is the secret to getting that completed? Because it was awesome. I've seen a few people do that.
The coolest one to me, I don't know if you saw, Todd himself posted it, but there was a fan there that had a photo from 40 years ago. Yeah. Meeting Todd outside a bathroom at some convention, and then now at Megacon. And I was like, that is literally the coolest thing to be able to have those sort of. And I did it, we saw that I did it with Skottie just a few years apart, but to be able to have 40 years of history with a comic creator like that was really awesome to see. So,
exactly. And to be honest, Todd didn't look too much older than he did 40 years ago. He has aged like a fine wine.
Yeah, he's aged very well. Yeah, for sure. So, and it's just that energy, it's just, I think people have that crazy good energy about them, are able to do that. So
say hey to Captain Derpy. I love that name. I'm not sure. First time, long time, but that's hey, Captain Derpy.
Name.
Let's see before we go into Eric's stuff here, but jealous. I can't say jelly about the.
Yeah, jelly about the Todd meat.
Killing me, Ryan. I
don't know how long he had to wait to get that Todd signature because, as I mentioned, I won the lottery too, and I saw the lines and you can call it a line to wait for the signature, and talked with some people who had waited 3 hours to get the signature, and I just passed my ticket off to a friend and said, good luck.
Wow.
I used it's good for dead air. Whenever I stop and just start reading the comments, but I used every letter of his name as an anagram and came up with a heart. Oh, cool. Very cool.
Yeah. But,
yeah, we're getting more comments tonight than we usually have, Tyler. So Seth comes on. It's like everybody has room to talk.
I know. Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, we gotta keep an eye on things. We're getting a lot here. Yeah.
And we're covering Seth up. This is I apologize, Seth. This is not planned. Yeah.
I need to wear a hat like you guys. I don't have one.
Yeah, we have our Skottie hats that we wear for the show.
This will match. This will match my art that's coming up.
Let's see it.
There we go.
All right.
There we go. Yeah.
That's called a tease. So Captain Derpy, my new favorite name on YouTube, just finished reading the 7 volumes of I Hate Fairyland and can't wait for Happy Endgame. Tune in next week. Tyler and I will be talking about and recapping issue 20, which I read digitally while sitting at Sonic Drive-In waiting for some chicken strips to come out today. And it was quite entertaining. It was really good. A good send-off for
it. Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, Cartman folded. Okay, so Ryan corrected himself. Sorry about not catching that sooner, Ryan. But that's pretty cool. That's pretty. I do love a good anagram myself. So
Yeah,
just three dudes wearing hats now. Yep.
Three cool dudes. Come on now.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was a Freudian slip, I'm sure, but yeah, I left that out on purpose. We know we are what we are. Come on, guys. Let's be real. All right, our next slide here is from another member of Skottie Young Appreciation Group on Facebook, Eric Santamaro. And man, he went crazy with the prints and comics and the signatures. He did, like, as I was loading his pictures on here, I had to keep shrinking them because there were so many of them. But he hit up some really big names, and we'll see some pictures here in just a second.
Yeah, a few of those I saw too. I loved that Iron Giant print. I saw that booth, and yeah, they had some really great art. So
let's just stop for a second, Tyler. Let's stop and let's respect Captain Derpy's opinion here, because we may never see another opinion like this on the show. So you guys are
never say never.
Yeah, we think you're awesome as well, Captain Derpy.
Exactly.
Man, that was on my bucket list to say that on YouTube one day. All right, this is Eric Santamaro's pictures of the actual artist, and he's got Greg, John, Jorge, and there's one other one. Shame on me for not knowing who this artist is. Do either one of you all know that? I should have asked Eric prior to the show.
That's John Jing, or which one are you talking about?
Yeah,
this is John Jing right there.
Oh, your point. Which one? Which corner?
Oh, the top left. I'm sorry, Seth. Yeah, as Tyler knows, I point with my mouse, and you all can't see the mouse. So
we can't see that. Yeah.
Top left. The square. Circle gets the square.
Yeah, I think that's Cale Neal. I think.
Is that who that? Okay, I've just seen his name and his art. I've never seen him in person. So.
I'm pretty sure those are his covers.
Thank you,
and
Seth.
I did my Doomsday.
Perfect. You're earning your keep already, Seth. Thank you very much for that. But cool.
Yeah, someone said that at the con. I was like, I'm very limited in the artists I follow. So I was walking with Seth and his brother, and it was like that artist and this artist, like naming everyone. I was like, I maybe know their work, but I was like, I don't really keep up with their names and stuff. So yeah, I was telling him that you and yourself, Dustin, how well you keep up with all the artists right now.
I try. There's a gap, and this is not to get sidetracked too much, but there's like an 80s period from when I was born to like the late 80s of movies that if you can name movies earlier, if you name movies later, I love movies. I'm pretty quick to wit on the movies, but there's a gap in my knowledge of that. I had that same problem with artists. There's a certain period where the person could be, and granted at Heroes, there was someone standing like right next to me that I guess was a pretty famous inker. I had no idea who the guy was just because he was from that black hole of my mind. So there is a really bad shortcoming for some of my artist knowledge, but yeah, and I always hate not to be able to respect them, especially if you enjoy their art, and you've read their comics growing up and all that. But yeah, it's but Tyler, as you go to more of these shows and start to pick up on more of the artists, you'll end up becoming more and more, aware of who each and every one of them are.
Yeah, I mean it's again, yeah, it's just a choosing game. It's whatever you put your time into. So yeah, limited budget. I limit my artist knowledge so that way I don't feel compelled to get more art than I probably should. So that's also another reason why I don't.
That's wise.
That's my problem. Sorry, I have that problem. I have a problem. I admit it. I've got a coin here somewhere. It's been 4 days since I bought art.
Since I bought art.
That's what I was going to say. What day are you on, Seth?
Yeah.
Speaking of,
it's Wednesday, so day 3. Although I almost did it. I almost bought something else from a drop that I saw today that the commission list was open.
I mean, that's fair. I was looking at Brett's web page again, and I was like, man, I could really go with another I Hate Fairyland interior page. So
yes, and there was a 2-page spread at the back of his book on his table, 2-page spread of one of those final pages of I Hate Fairyland, the music issue, where she is Gert is jumping at the giant monster that basically takes up the 2 pages. Yeah. And I saw that and I was like, oh God, I'm gonna spend more money, aren't I? I was really close. Really close.
It's tough. Yeah, he brought a lot of good stuff. So
Seth, I hate to be a bad influence, but I've got this in hand. I can ship it out.
I already claimed it. I just need a payment plan.
You just gotta sign it too. Yeah. So
he's back to day 0, folks. All right, Seth, kick us off and tell us what all the art you got here. This is some awesome stuff you got.
Yeah. Well, I kicked it off sort of by probably communicating with way too many artists before the con, just trying to figure out, you know, what I wanted and seeing all these people everywhere, the stuff that I wanted. I mean, it really started last year for Heroes. Tyler, I had asked you to help me get on Chrissy Zulo's sort of commission list.
Yes.
And because I really wanted hers, and she filled up so quickly that we weren't able to do it. And so I was like, well, this time I'm gonna try and get on some people beforehand, which I was able to do with 3 of the, or well, probably almost 4 or 5. I don't know if they're on the next slide, but so the one on the top left there, I'd seen Chrissy Zulo and her husband, Chris Uminga, post a lot of stuff on Instagram about them doing pieces together. And I'm like, that's a great idea, because I love her art. I love his style, and getting them both together seemed like just a great idea. And so I had commissioned that beforehand, and it blew me away when I saw it. They sent it to me like the day before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I was, cause I had seen them at OAX a couple weeks ago, and she had said she'd get in touch with me right before the show just to see what was going on. And, she sent me that, and I picked it up at the show, and it was just amazing. You can see sort of a theme of mine.
Yeah, kind of like a certain character, maybe.
I had so many ideas of characters I liked, you know, X-Men, Superman, Invincible, Spider-Man. I had to just focus myself on some characters that I really wanted to get. So I tried to do that here. So you have Chrissy Zulo and Chris Ming on the top left. The bottom there was, I knew that I wanted to get something new from Brett when he posted that Superman cover that he had.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And this, you know, I just love his style. And so I asked him to do Superman and Crypto. And that's what he came up with without any prompting from me. And
I love that. It's so cool.
And then in the middle there's Art Adams, Supergirl Art Adams. Again, just I have an Art Adams piece in the CGC op that is still pending, and I have no idea what it looks like or when it'll get done. But I knew with the opportunity to get there, and I knew sort of, you know, from what I understood, you can get on Arthur's list, but it's not first come, first serve. It is, what does he feel like doing today?
More of a Skottie.
So I tried to find options that he doesn't do often, right? I didn't want to just get a Black Cat. I didn't want to just get, you know, something that he does every day, because people love his female covers and people love his monster covers. But so again, I just went with the theme and brought the Supergirl. I had some other ideas, or one other idea that I didn't go with, which I think he'll do a good job of, but I'm saving that for myself for next time. Dustin knows, he's laughing.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say. I wasn't gonna say unless you did. So.
Then I'm a big Mirka Andolfo fan, from basically, you know, I first saw her art on Whatnot, right? Just these Whatnot shows, seeing her and her style. I knew she did that one book that she did. I forget now what it's called, but she draws this, you know, it's a really tantalizing, like, pig lady, right?
Oh, wow. Unnatural?
Yeah. What's that?
Unnatural?
Unnatural, right. And I just really liked her style. I like what she does on Instagram. And so I reached out to their reps when I saw that her pre-list was open, and just, and this one was interesting because I had seen some art that she was doing with other characters. And I was like, you know what, I really want that pose. And so I sent their art rep. I said, hey, this is what she did with it was a Harley Quinn print, commission. I said, I really love this, but with Supergirl. And that's what she came up with. And again, I love it with every piece of my heart. The top right one, actually, so that's Anthony Marquez. He's I think he's like a director at the Kubert School of Art. I had actually bought that from him, but just after New York Comic Con, as a sort of my first ever mail away commission. And he just hadn't done it yet. And so when I saw that he was on, it was about a month ago. I was like, hey, listen, I know you haven't gotten to this yet, but if you're going to be at Megacon, take your time. I'll just pick it up. And so that I did, and I showed up, and it was actually, that one is it's an 11 by 17. And
yeah.
Oh, wow. I
didn't
realize.
It looked like it, yeah.
The size was really supposed to be smaller than that. So I was really happy when I saw that. It's much bigger than I expected. That Zulo one is like 12 by 14. So it's a little oversized as well. And then the rest of these are 9 by 12, I think. Yeah. Nightmare
really
12s.
And Seth, you brought up a really good point. I want to anybody watching or anybody that's not used to getting commissions. It always helps if you suggest what you. I mean, don't dictate and tell exactly how to do, but like Seth did, say, hey, if you could do it in this style. If you'd never be afraid to ask the artist, tell them what you want, because I've seen a lot of people, even in the sketch group on Facebook, get pieces back from artists, and they're like, oh, this is regrettable. I wish I wouldn't have got this. I wish I'd have got this character doing this or doing that. But just like Seth said with Merca there, suggesting, hey, can I get this? And Seth, like he said, he's very pleased with the results from just kind of being forward with the artist and also being polite and getting what you want.
Yeah, and even with the Chrissy Zulo piece, right? I mean, I'd seen examples of what they did, and sometimes they have characters just sort of standing there posing, and I'd given them 2 options, and I said, hey, just pick whichever one inspires you. And she had said they just had a lot of fun doing this one, and maybe it was the new Superman trailer that got them excited about it, but they had a lot of fun. And with Superman carrying Lois, I mean, to me, it's the epitome of
classic, yeah,
of what they are.
Really,
and in fact, with the Anthony Marquez piece, I asked him, I sent him those Fleischer cartoon images, right? The Fleischer cartoon covers of the DVDs and different promotional. I said, oh, and there's a statue also. I said, this is kind of what I want you to do, because your style is so classic and you sort of homage his style a lot. And he told me when I picked it up that he had a great time doing it because he loves those cartoons as well. But it sort of ends up being the same thing, right? The same kind of pose, but with a different perspective and with a sort of a different period of time and a different style, which I love them both.
Right. And Seth, I apologize for not blowing up your jam piece bigger, because really it's hard to see. I made it the smallest picture that I could. And real quick, guys, I didn't want to break you and Tyler up. That's not why my face appeared in the middle. I was trying to get Seth out of the bottom left corner, so whenever we put up comments, it didn't hide him. And all it did was just separate you and Tyler. So I'm sorry about that.
I'll sit up straight, taller.
Yeah. It's a Brady bunch. We'll just keep moving around as the show goes on.
I'm done messing with it. I'm sorry, guys. Can you give us a real quick?
You're fine.
Can you give us a real quick rundown of the 8, starting left to right as I point with my
Yeah,
mouse again?
yeah. So, and I wrote them down. So let me get it up because I don't remember all of them. But yeah, I mean, this one's really fun. I knew I wanted to do something like this at the show because I think it gave me the opportunity to meet a lot of people and then talk with people and sort of get something different than just this one piece. And so I started with the Lobo with the EM Gist because he was at the Trinity Comics booth, and that's where I was getting sort of some of their exclusives. And I had seen him do his remarks live, and I knew it was going to be good. And so I went and I had a list of probably 12 to 13 Superman villains that just because I knew that sometimes Superman isn't even his villains aren't the most mainstream, right? It's not like a Batman villains or Spider-Man. And so I figured, but I would give the artist sort of their choice of what to do. And EM Gist immediately said Lobo. And remarkably, more than one of these people wanted to do Doomsday, which shocked me because I thought it was going to be the most complicated of and the Cyborg Superman too would be the most complicated. I thought everyone would just want Lex Luthor, a guy in a tie.
Yeah,
they wanted
a guy in a tie. Yeah.
Dan Jurgens, who like Doomsday, he even charges extra money to do Doomsday and like Cyborg Superman just because of the complexity of the character.
Yeah. So, but none of these guys shied away from any of that. So I was really happy with that. And there's a couple more characters that I was hoping would be chosen, but for the style that all these folks did, I think it worked out really great because I think I was going to go to a couple other artists whose style I think would have fitted some of the other villains, but I think this worked out fine. So you have EM Gist as Lobo, and then to the right you have John Timms, who's
my personal favorite.
And John is the current artist on Aquaman, and he did some Superman as well. He did when that was Son of Kal-El, and he did a recent cover of Bizarro for an Action Comics issue. And he's like, well, I can do this, and he showed me the original inks for the cover, and I was like, have at it. Because I don't know if you've seen the cover, but it's Bizarro looking straight on with this really angry face. It looks great, and that's what he did. I couldn't be happier. Clockwise, the Doomsday is Kyle New. He was again gracious and happy to do it. And then the Cyborg Superman is Jorge Molina. who also, and for a lot of these people, I had tried to find people who actually had done Superman in the past because I knew they would sort of have familiarity with it.
That's cool.
But in those four definitely, E.M. Gist said he had never done Lobo before, so that was nice. He enjoyed that doing it for the first time. But these three others had some experience doing Superman. And then same with Laura Braga, who did Lex Luthor. I said, hey, I wanted Lex Luthor in the armor. And she's like, yeah, I just did that for a comic. So let me do that one. I know how to do it. And she did it. She was the first one to do it on the back there. So hers is quite large, which I was really, really happy with.
Yeah.
And then the only artist on here that I wasn't really familiar with was Enid Balaam, who did the Brainiac. He was sort of sitting across from Laura, and I saw what he was doing on some other stuff that was there, including a Wolverine and a Spider-Gwen. And I was like, oh, this guy will fit great on here. And so I asked him to do it. I said the same thing. Here's the list. And he looked at it and saw what was left. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this Brainiac. And then he came back with that. And then Chris Campagna, Tyler, I don't know, maybe you weren't at this. He did a sketch off Chris did with Anthony Marquez. And it was a hilarious sketch off. It was really good. It was DC versus Marvel, right? Because Marquez does all the DC guys and Chris does a lot of Marvel work. I think he's the interior artist for Ghost Rider right now. He's done some Spider-Man. And so I went to him and I said, hey, listen, the guy I'm missing really that I want here is Darkseid. And he's like, absolutely, I'll do it. And so then he filled the rest of the page there with Darkseid. And then, I was like, well, I got this tiny little head space left. I think Brett Bean's animated style would do great for Mr. McPhillips. And I went to Brett and he was all for it. He did complain about the small, tiny area I left for him. But he was happy to do it. And I think it turned out great just because, he's such a crazy character. And I figured, his style would fit really well. And I wasn't sure what the other option, if Brett didn't want to do it, was I forget the guy's name who was sitting next to him.
Derek Hunter.
Derek Hunter. Also, I would have asked too with that animated style. And so that was a lot of fun because I got to spend, 3 days walking around, looking at artists, figuring out who I wanted, figuring out who I wanted, but didn't really want to spend the price on. And I think it turned out really well. I'm really happy with it.
I was going to ask you, I was curious how you went about, like if you pre-planned it before the show or if you did it during it. So yeah.
I had a whole list of people that I wanted to stop by and check. I think probably, and some of these people were definitely on it. But Chris Campagna, didn't know his art until I saw him at the show. I had Laura Braga on the list. I didn't, Jorge Molina wasn't on my list, but when I walked by and saw what he was doing, and he has done Superman before, I was like, absolutely. Yeah. And there are some others that I really wanted to get on it, but I really wanted to fill both pages. And so I tried to stay within a budget, and some of those people would have just completely broken the budget. But I think they would have done a fantastic job.
Well, Seth, I will mention, since you're a member of the sketch group on Facebook, if you go and look up Gary Clute, Clute, he's got some phenomenal jam pieces, and he's really good about he draws the lines, and I've met him in Heroes. I don't know if you've ever seen his work, but he probably has hundreds of jams.
I saw people drawing lines, and I was like, you know what? I probably should do that. But then I was like, I'll just see how it goes. I didn't for that.
No, I like the way yours turned out. It's especially with the mix of artists you got. But I'm just for someone that I've never did a jam piece before, and I'd be nervous that I'd get 2 or 3 and then run out of space or run out of ideas. So I like how that you were able to complete it and get all laid on there. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I saw one, when I walked up to Jorge Molina, he was doing a jam piece. Someone had taken just, 11 by 17 piece of comic board and had split it up into probably 24 squares and was doing all X-Men characters.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
But then a really odd one, when I went up to drop this off with Chris Campagna, I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry if I'm ruining it. Someone had actually given him a large 11 by 17 drawing of the Shadow, I think, but it had been penciled by someone already. Yeah. And then the Shadow picture had been split up into 24 squares, and he was asking different artists to then ink each square. And Chris was like, I'm just inking a hat.
Yeah.
Why am I doing that? So that would, and so another spot would have been like the nose. So that was a weird choice to me.
I've never heard of anybody doing that before. That's
right.
pretty wild.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And I've seen others, and this is maybe the next level, right? Dustin, you've seen is someone will do a layout where they'll lay out the rough figures of 8 different characters.
Prelim.
Have 8 different artists draw those characters. I saw one that was in Art Adams, full, well, really half figure, right? Because it was standing behind someone.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is a lot of effort.
So the guy that got that piece is also the one that got Todd McFarlane to do the Spider-Man on another jam piece that he did. So,
okay.
So that was, he knows what he's doing. That guy does. His method.
So that's interesting, but that seems to be like that is diamond level experience with something like that.
Yes. All right. Before we go to this next slide, Seth, I just want to tell our audience today that have you all ever played the game Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat where you see the little bar going down and down, and then they do the finishing move? Yeah. Seth was sending me pictures of all his commissions this weekend. My power bar was going down, and this next slide, the 3 pieces on that was like you could just hear finish him, and my spine was ripped from my body as these pieces were revealed to me. So.
Yeah. So these are again, yeah, I love these too. And this breaks these broke the theme. But these are all, so the 2 on the left, let's start there, because the one on the right is sort of a bucket list thing, right? So the one in the middle is a new artist. I don't know how to pronounce his first name, but it's Godtail. He's, I think, a recent artist in comic books. He does a lot of manga in Japan, but he's had a couple exclusives that have come out in America. And then his first Marvel mainstream cover was Wolverine number 5, I think, came out in January. And I had seen his work a lot online after I first saw his covers. And I saw that he brings commissions with him. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to get something from him. And so I communicated with the rep, it was basically on his website, right? They were saying, so I communicated with the rep. I was like, hey, are you taking anything, pre Megacon? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And so I had arranged for this, and I sent, I didn't expect him to know who this character was, right? Not a mainstream Marvel or DC character, not a manga character. So I sent, I said, hey, I'd like Gert from I Hate Fairyland, and I sent a bunch of pictures. And this order was supposed to be it's what he calls black, white, and gold. So I think the paper is a gold paper that he then draws on top of. And he's got a lot of examples on Instagram of sort of a lot of pencil line grays, gray tones of the actual character. But the rep even told me sometimes he adds color if he's feeling into it. And I said, well, great. If you could add any color, blood or the green in her hair, I think that would look great. But artist choice. And so I showed up on Thursday just to check in. And so Godtail doesn't speak any English at all. But his rep did. And so I had asked, hey, I pre-ordered this. And I ordered this one probably 7 to 10 days before Megacon. It was a late.
Wow.
And they had no idea what I was talking about. And so I said, okay, well, here's what I asked for. I showed him my receipt and I showed him the pictures that I sent. And he's like, okay, I'll get it done. Just come back Sunday. This was Thursday. And then I emailed the rep or emailed the person I bought it from. I was like, hey, just to double check, I just want to make sure that you get this information. When I talked to him, seems like it's going to be ready. And then when I showed up on Sunday and picked this up, I was again floored because this is, I don't know if it's 9 by 12 or 8 by 11 and a half, or whatever the European A4 is.
A4, A3.
Yeah.
Right.
There are some pieces that are a little bigger than this, full color on his table, that were for sale for $1,000, $1,500. And this was not that at all.
And Seth, on Whatnot, his prices have just been going.
Well, that's too. Well, I was like, you know what? If I've got the chance to get this guy, I need to, because he seems to be of international fame or an international popularity for sure. But again, I think he felt bad that he didn't have anything done on the first day, and he just added full color. And again, with the action pose, her face, I mean, to me, it encapsulates the character perfectly.
Yeah, so striking.
The one on the left is a guy named Elmarie Santos. He's another sort of foreign artist where I had seen his work through, I think it was probably just through OAX, through Comic Art Fans, who does the random grab bags. They're mystery sketches for like $200, and you just tell them what you want, and they give it randomly to a whole list of artists who come back and give you, a piece that they've done. And I saw his work on that website and through the OAX, the expo, right? And I was like, well, I can't go to both conventions, so I didn't. And I was like, I'll just keep an eye on him and maybe get him next time. Well, then I saw him post on Instagram that he was just hanging out in Orlando for 2 weeks between Megacon and OAX. And so I just reached out to him. I said, hey, are you, while you're hanging out, are you doing anything? Can you do a commission? And he said, absolutely. And so I just told him this character, and he said, yeah, let me look it up. I think he had familiarity with her. I gave him a couple characters actually, and this one he had more familiarity with and said he could have some fun with. I was like, well, then if it inspires you, please go ahead. And he had sent me a sketch of it first to see if I liked it. And I was like, this is great, do it. And this is what I picked up from him at Megacon. And it's fantastic. He said he had a lot of fun sort of creating what her powers would look like.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, as I have talked to Mr. Zach Summers a little bit about some of these artists, I'm not sure it's her back feels very good after doing this in a superhero fight. I'm not sure it's anatomically correct, the poses, but I'm not complaining about it.
She's young, Seth. She'll bounce back quickly.
Right. I'm not complaining about it. I just really like his style, and I couldn't be happier with his piece as well. And he was a great guy to talk to because I chatted with him a little bit, not only while he was making it, but at Megacon. And I think that's a theme for all of these artists. None of them seemed bothered. None of them seemed like they didn't want to talk to you. They were giving everybody in line the time that they needed or wanted. I thought that was, frankly, I was shocked because I would have thought some of these people would be very business-like. Give me the comic, let me sign it, move on. And they just weren't. I've heard Delato, who had hundreds of people in his line every day, was giving people the time to shake hands and say hi and
that's nice.
Selfies.
Yeah, it's always super nice.
Seth, I wanted to read your message real quick for the Godtail Gert piece.
Yeah,
I'm sitting in Sunday school teaching Sunday school, and this message pops up: here's something I kept secret from you.
Yeah.
He posts this beautiful image that Godtail did, and I'm sitting there trying to teach, and I'm also envy's like filling me up. But I'm glad that you shared that with me as soon as you got it, because that was a beautiful piece, man. He did a great job on that one.
Yeah, and I knew I wanted, like, one of the, again, my theme is, listen, if I can get someone to do Gert at any con I'm going to, right? I'm going to ask them because love the character, love the storyline, and I think that so many artists can have really good takes on her. Frankly, Tyler, I blame you for that because getting Ryan Otley to do it was, to me, just inspiring.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I like you said, it just kind of like hit me, and I was like, man, I love Ryan's work. I know him and Skottie are friends. This seems like such a great idea. And like you said, I've seen a few other people do it too. And I'm like, and it's like a weird thing. It's not like I was against it. It's just like, oh, I want the person who draws it to draw it, if they're going to draw it. But then, then Skottie getting Brett Bean on. And like you said, just seeing different artists take on these characters, like you said, especially this one, like just fills up the whole page and is so dynamic and crazy. Like not something I'd ever like seeing that again. It's that same thing. Like, man, I got to find other artists, to do the same thing. So,
and and that's what's really drawn me, I think, to some of this original art is some of the requests I made when I first started this were just, hey, here's the character and the costume I want. And some of them came back very static, and it's great art, but it's not enticing, right? It doesn't wow me. And so sometimes I have to, you have to ask, listen, can you do this, but sort of in an action pose? Neither of these people I had to give direction to, though, because I just knew their style, right? So I was super happy with it. And I don't even know how to describe this last one, right, Dustin? I mean, getting on a Frank Cho commission list is sort of a bucket list item that you don't really expect. He is known for being, I think, a little bit of a curmudgeon, right? And will just decide quickly on the minute, right? Yeah. To whether he's going to do any commissions at all, right? And whether he's going to have a list. And I've heard, and maybe it was even last Megacon, that he just didn't do any. Or it was a con, another con, because he did so many last year. I remember reading somewhere that he did, more than a dozen, which is more than one a month, right? And he's definitely scaled that down. So when I went to his table to sort of find out what he was doing, he was writing on his commission list. I had dropped off my book with Art Adams, and I said, well, let me see what's going on over there. And he had a spot left on his list. And I said, great, I took the sales tactic that it said that was, hey, there's only one spot left. If you want it, you got to take it now. And my brother was with me, and I said, what do you think? He's like, you got to do it. Yeah. And then, he told me the price, and I was like, well, I already said I would do it, so I guess I got to do it.
Yeah.
Which was actually, you know what? He must have done them last year in Megacon, because I heard what the prices were last year in Megacon, and he had raised them significantly this year. But when you get on the list, they tell you what you're going to get. And he said, listen, I'm only doing single character 3/4. 3/4 is basically what that Ellery one is, which is right thigh or knee up. So, it's basically going to be what you would normally see from Frank Cho, right? Which is just a single character, very well done, very stylized. But I had heard throughout the weekend, and I had seen him at a couple panels and seen him on some Whatnot shows, right? Yeah, exactly. No regrets. I've already had my Snickers though. You could tell he was having a good time, and I had heard he was having a good time. And I saw him post some stuff of him starting drafts of sketch covers, and that he was doing 7 of them. So and even on one of his Whatnot shows, they asked him to do like 10 remarks of Power Girl, and he's like, why not? Which is like printing money, right? I mean, it's marketable.
A no-brainer, yeah.
So, but again,
those sold for $200 each. And
yes.
From the friend of mine that was watching it said that you didn't even see them in the shop. Like as soon as they put them up, they sold out.
Oh yeah, it was like that. He put up, I think, maybe a couple, and they were instant, and they convinced him somehow to do 10 more. Now again, they sort of all look the same, but still, it's a Frank Cho remark of Power Girl on that exclusive that he had. So, but yeah, they were instant sellouts. No one wants to do feet. No one.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah.
But so when I came back and I went to pick up my stuff, I saw a couple other people picking up at the same time. It was sort of what I expected. One character with a funny saying, with some cleavage out, and one was a Power Girl. I think one was a Catwoman, not Catwoman, Black Cat. Yeah. And I had seen on his list too, when I got on it, that I had seen what was before me, and no one had requested this character. So I was like, well, okay, great, I'll take it. And I asked for the Savage Land Road. And when I picked this up, and this is what it was, I'm like, this is not what I ordered. This is not what I expected. But I already
like a refund, sir.
I had already, you pay up front, right? So it's not like you're paying when you pick it up and he can change his mind. So when I picked this up, and it was, I don't know if you would even consider this 3/4. She does only have one leg. So, right. But this to me is more of a full body. It's got the background on it. It's got his, the dinosaur in the sky, and it's got his, his style of adding an extra character with a saying, and it's got Fred Flintstone there. And so that to me, I didn't know what other tier this might be, but Dustin points out here, and something that was posted on Facebook, that this is certainly more than double what I paid sometimes.
Yes.
Which is, to me, I knew this was not the tier of art that I expected to get back. And so I was, even though I lost a little sleep when I first made the order and paid, it was well worth it. And even, you guys have seen, I'm sure people on the stream have seen how much his even basic sketch covers go for on Whatnot and places like that, and Nerdcrawler. So this floored me that I was able to get on this. I do not have any regrets now.
No.
I have been accepting every offer on eBay of any comic that I have just to make some cash, but well worth it.
Yeah. Not a single ounce of plasma left in.
That's right. That's right. I'm about to go to the blood bank, and that other bank I'm about to go to.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Good show. Now, real quick, you mentioned Whatnot, and I just want to talk about Frank. You said he can be a curmudgeon, but Frank is Frank. He's not going to put on a show. He's not going to be phony. If you go up to him and he doesn't feel like drawing, you're not getting a drawing that day. but if he's in a good mood, and he loved Megacon from what his post said, it was like his favorite place to be.
I went to two panels with him, one a nerd crawler panel and one of his sketch offs. And in both of them, he was engaging. He was funny. Yeah. He was having a good time. And even the art he did for his sketch off that someone won, which was again a black cat in his style, that it was amazing, right? And you don't expect that for someone giving away free art, to me anyway.
Well, he did the cross hatching on the black cat that was given away, and his cross hatching is probably the best in the industry. I mean, for me, I love the way he does that for the black costumes.
But it's really funny. And if you haven't seen it, you should go on his Instagram and look at the picture that he took with the person who won it. Because at first, I'm not sure if that person knew who he was, but also it is the least exciting you could ever be for winning something like that from Frank Cho.
It's honestly, it's why I don't go to I'm not going to go to a verse, like an art verse. That's the only reason why I only went to Brett and Derek's, is because I don't want to be that person that gets art from somebody who I'm like, cool, awesome, like I got a freebie. Like I want that to be somebody who's like, man, I just went a Frank Cho. Even watching the people that went up for Brett and them, like not nearly enough excitement. I was like, man, if I got this piece, I would be like, awesome, like that's so cool. So
you act like Barb Barker's just introduced you to the stage for Price is Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I have just showed my age. Drew Carey, Bob Barker.
Yeah, exactly.
I did sit in another one. I sat in one with Mirka and Laura Braga. And they were drawing, people were asking, and they were just drawing like animals. And so I gave my ticket to, a kid sitting, across the row from me, because I was like, well, here, maybe you'll win this. Cool. I didn't really win anyway, because there was something else I wanted to go to. But yeah, it was interesting. The Art Adams one. Art Adams was he with Ryan Otley? I don't remember which one. No, he was.
No, Stegman, was with.
He was with John Boy Myers. Oh. And they were asking for prompts from the audience, and somebody prompted a Nazi Furby, right? And Art Adams is like, okay, fine. And so he draws a Furby with a Hitler mustache, and I'm like, Lord. Okay, but that's the sort of gag art that I would expect from someone who's just doing it to have a little fun and doesn't want someone to sell this on eBay. The other one was a Popeye, which was really awesome.
Yeah. The Popeye was good. The Popeye was really good.
No, I know. Yeah, during the Otley Stegman draw, if they took fireball shots,
right,
for what I heard. So, yeah, I mean that stuff is like, and that's why I love those art offs. And honestly, like it'd be like you said, I would at least watch it, and even if I want to be like, I want this to go to somebody else, but just to watch them enjoy each other's company is always such a blast.
Ryan Otley did Invincible. He did full-on Invincible sketch. That was amazing. Was that the one I was 1 or 2 off? I don't know.
I think you were 2 off on that one, and then the next one you were 1 off.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking. Yeah. Literally heartbreaking that the guy behind me or 2 behind me got it. I wanted to run out of there kicking.
I kicked myself because I missed it. That was the day that my sister-in-law and wife joined me. It's like I just completely blanked on it. And then you messaged me, and I was like, oh crap. I was like, I'm gonna miss this now, but I was like, that's fine. Seth's at least there, so.
Yeah, and if I would have won, you would have been really upset.
I definitely would. I would have been like, I should have got. If I probably would have gotten his ticket. No, I mean
I had a lot of fun. There was more stuff I wanted to do, but the convention center is so big. I would find myself on the south end at these sketch offs and wanting to go to a panel that's on the north end, and it's like 3/4 of a mile through a million people, and so I just didn't go to some of that stuff that I really wanted to. But regardless, it was a lot of fun just getting all this stuff and sitting there and hearing the panels. I got some behind the scenes spoilers from the panel of the Absolute books, Batman and Superman, all that stuff. It was, like the whole team there was fun.
That's super cool.
We're all sworn to secrecy, though. I can't tell it on YouTube.
Exactly.
One of the early numbers I saw was 210,000 was there. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but we were talking about 190,000 being at Megacon last year. So if
that's what their wiki has is over 210,000 supposedly this year was the number they had. So it doesn't surprise me as we looked at the numbers before. It's been steadily climbing 20 to 30, even 40,000 people the past few years. So
that surpassed New York Comic Con from last fall. So
yeah, it's insane what it's. I mean, I remember going back in college, and again, like it wasn't anything like what it was this year. I mean, the celebrities, were like TV stars and stuff at most. And it was more like anime and gaming than anything. Even the artists, the comic artists and stuff weren't, nearly as big from what I remember. But yeah, it's crazy to what it's become now. So
Well, congratulations, Seth. You had awesome hauls, and between you and while we're fixing to see Tyler's hauls, I felt like I was at Megacon. Thank you all for sending me pictures. And I know I was picking on Seth about making me jealous, but no, I really did appreciate him and Tyler because I've been at cons before. I know how stressful it is and how busy you get, but just to send a doofus like me some pictures, I really did appreciate that. That made me feel like I was part of the Megacon crowd, even though I wasn't. So thanks.
And I fully expect you to get your revenge whenever you pick up something else that I see. It's like, where the heck did you
I know,
get
yeah, Heroes Con, yeah.
From Heroes, if I'm not there, or every time you get a new Skottie cover in the mail, it's
Sure,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's no mercy, no mercy.
Exactly.
All right, Tyler, man, you had a great con as well. This was very impressive pieces you got.
I did, yeah. I'm gonna start off with the silly stuff in the middle. That was only one picture of the stuff that I had taken, but I live and breathe Artist Alley, and I have like for the past good few years, and not just like the comic artists, but just the self-employed people who've got Etsy shops and stuff, or making IP kind of stuff, because that's what I love. I love fan art. I love being able to see people take and draw stuff that I love. There's Full Metal Alchemist there. There's One Piece. I love Togepi. Togepi is my favorite Pokemon, so I look for anything and everything Togepi. Same goes for Aizawa, a character from My Hero Academia. I'll look for anything of their stuff. But it's just always so fun. It's always so cool. I'll sit there and chat with them too, and got to chat with some about. And they'll go into I spent this much on the booth, or they had to buy Wi-Fi that morning or whatever. And it's cool because there's been a few people now where I've gotten to really know them, like Lisa V. You can see their Chewbacca Han Solo stickers at the bottom. They're a really, really cool artist and really chill. And I back them on Patreon. I back them with some other stuff, and it's cool getting to revisit those people each year and get to befriend them and get to know them more and stuff. So that's what I did all 4 days, was just walk up and down. The first 2 days, get the scope of everything, because Seth said, it's such a massive convention. The Artist Alley is incredibly big, and it ranges whatever you're gonna find there. So it's all surrounded by the comic artists, which is really nice. I did think this year was laid out much better than in previous years, which is funny because I saw some people said that it wasn't. I'm like, well, you must not have been here last year, because it's been way worse than the past. But yeah, Thursday I got there, went straight to Brett's booth, and like I said, Brett was there, and we chatted for probably an hour or something. And that's where I gave him the commission, which again was pretty much from Seth himself, was the Gert and Invincible commission on the I Hate Fairyland comic to go with the Ryan Otley. And I was like, that's such a great idea, because I was like, yeah, after getting Ryan's Gert, I was like, it'd be super fun to get Brett, who's been doing I Hate Fairyland, to do Invincible as well. And again, kind of a funny one, because I'm kind of the opposite, where, and I don't know if it's just because I'm also an artist, where I'm like, I like giving a broad idea and then just letting the artist run with it and just kind of seeing what I get out of it. But yeah, it was just super cool to see them two fighting, and to see his take on it. And funny enough, for some reason, this was one actually I kind of pictured in my head. Invincible was going to be beating up Gert to kind of do the opposite
I was thinking too, Tyler,
of what Ryan drew. So when he gave this back, I was like, oh, that's funny. You just continued it. And then when I was looking at it, I was like, this, if anything, this is funnier, because this is like a prequel. This is like the minute before, I think you said, Seth, or something too. Yeah. What we see with Ryan's, where Gert wins with the mask. So yeah, I don't know if that was on purpose, or just kind of what he was feeling and stuff. And it was the same thing, where I asked for the two figures Ryan. I had to kind of budget more, and I just ended up with Gert and then the mask. And then he posted on social media, and Dustin immediately told me, and I freaking loved the photo that he took, the selfie with Ryan Otley, where Ryan's all pouty and angry and stuff. And only 7 minutes behind. So yeah, I was wondering what that comment was. I was like, what's underwhelming?
It's okay. Sorry about that.
No. But yeah,
Tyler, I cut off the signature too. I'm sorry. In the top right corner.
No, yeah, totally fine. And I had it here, so I've got everything here. But yeah, I got Ryan to sign it. I got him to do a bloody signature. And he was super cool. I asked his rep, in line. I was like, "Hey, is Ryan going to be cool signing this?" Figuring he probably would be. And he was like, "Yeah, Ryan's chill." Again, a lot of artists won't sign things that they don't do, but that's especially more so in regards to fan art or other people that copy or mimic their artwork. So when I got up to Ryan, I was like, "Hey, Brett sent me over here. He wanted you to sign." Just kind of joking around. And Ryan was really cool. And he's like, "Oh, this is like, so that you got this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was super chill. He was like, as long as, you don't try and claim that I made it. And I was like, no, not at all. I was like, Brett, fully owns this piece. So, after getting that was like the one that I really wanted. And then I kind of talked with Dustin because I was kind of going back and forth because I really, really wanted an I Hate Fairyland cover and had been eyeing them for months. Dustin and I had kind of talked about our favorite ones, and especially seeing them there in person, I was like, man, I would really love to own one of these, especially now that his run is done. But I was trying to, be to budget better and everything. So in the end, I ended up with another commission, and then flipping through his art. Like I said, he brought pages of I Hate Fairyland, the covers, and then, just his own sketches and art that he's done. So I commissioned Death, which most people don't know, but it's from the game Darksiders that I'm a massive fan of. I've got tattooed on my arm. That's created by Joe Mad and his game company. So I love Joe Madden, his art style. I've got to meet him before, and it was one of those ones where I was like, oh, I don't know, Brett, would you like to, do one of my favorite characters? So I had him do War last year, which is this one right here. Oh, not that one. Sorry. This one right here. So War is the main protagonist of the first game. And so I got him to do that one. And I absolutely loved it. He did such an amazing job, making it cartoony and fun and going with it. So I was like, hey, do you want to do one of the other 4 horsemen? There's 4 altogether. There's 3 left that he had to do. So I it was Death, Fury, and Strife. And he was like, what do you want? And I was like, oh, I don't care, any of them is fine with me. And he was like, well, you kind of described Death a little bit more, so let's do Death. And I was like, well, that that works. That's the next game is Death's game. So yeah, again, he knocked it out of the park. It was so fun. I love his chunkization of the characters, chunkifying them up, and his size, but even just the small details of again, he did the same with War, where it's serious, but it still has that touch of cartoon with like the skulls or like the characters on the scythe itself. And my favorite, it's harder to see, but it's this tiny little mouth he drew on the handle with this little eyeball. I thought was just such a funny little touch. So I was like, man, that's awesome. And then that Spider-Man piece, I like flipped through all of them and I loved all of them. But as soon as I saw that one, I was like, God, that is such an awesome piece.
I could not agree more. And if I had seen that before you,
I know, yeah, you would agree. And it's one of those ones because I haven't gotten to do color yet, and I kind of wish. And that's on me, like you said, it's you do have to be kind of specific about what you ask for. And same with the Gert. If I had thought about it, I would have asked to throw in some color. But seeing that Spider-Man in the color on that stark white page, and especially because he's drawn him multiple times, battered and beat up and bruised. So yeah, I definitely, I was like, I have to get this one. Same size as the War and Death. It's like that 8 by 12, or not 8 by 11, but it's like
9 by 12. Yeah.
Yeah, like 9 by 12. Yeah, type piece. But yeah, I mean the detail of just how beat up Spidey is, and again, that like you said, it's kind of like the Gert, where it's like they just nail the character and like kind of or the Superman you were talking about with Chrissy, where I'm like that's like Spider-Man almost like at his best, where he's like down on his luck and he's like having a rough go of it, but it's like he's not going to give up. He's going to keep pushing. And again, I'm always somebody who likes the background stuff too. So even just the slight brick texture he did in the back was just such a nice little touch and pop out of that. So yeah, no, that I was like, all right, I'll get that one and I'll get the one more commission, and I'll be happy with those. And I was, like I said, he was super chill about it. It was really nice. I do have funny side story is that he misremembered who I was at first, so he got me confused with somebody else who he said there's a doppelganger of me running around, because he was like, "You're the guy who was like, doing this and this," and I was like, "No," I was like, "We interviewed you." He's like, "Oh, that's it, right? You're that guy." He was like, "Well, you have a doppelganger." He's like, if I find the picture, I'm gonna have to like send this to you so you believe, that this person looks like you." And I was like, "Yeah, send it to me if you ever find this lookalike for who I am." But yeah, he was super great and super nice, and I got to talk with Derek Hunter, who was next to him as well. And I didn't send you pictures of this one, but Derek worked on the new reboot of DuckTales, which I absolutely love. That show was such an awesome reboot of that series. So I had my deluxe art book for that show that I brought to him and got signed by him on the inside, and then also bought his Pretty Violent comic as well, because I've seen it for a while and I just been meaning to pick it up. So I was like, oh, now's the perfect time as ever. But and it was, it's cool because it was Brett's first time, so I was really looking forward to him. I would have loved to get something from Ryan as well. Wanted to get the sketch cards, but I went to their booth and asked. Excuse me. And as soon as they said they're going on Whatnot for auction, I was like, "Yep, I'm not going to be able to get that, unfortunately, just because Ryan's stuff can skyrocket instantly, especially with those sketch cards. They're super wanted." So,
and Seth, they were on the CSA, or Ryan's got his own Whatnot thing, and they did blind bags for $500 each for 10 of them.
I didn't send you that. I saw them opening that, and I took a picture of them doing it, and had the Whatnot feed running on my phone. It was like Inception.
Yeah.
That is funny. Yeah, I did hope that I would catch them, because I'm sure it's. I know you and I saw them at one of the other booths. I can't remember what artist it was, but yeah, to be able to just see them doing that live, and I got lucky, or not lucky, or go ahead, Seth.
I was just saying, and he had done a bunch of sketch covers for that show too. He had done an actual sketch cover of Alan the Alien, which I saw, was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it started at the same price that he starts all of his sketches at, and actually that one sold for the starting price, which shocked me.
Yeah.
I think they all started at $1,000 for that show.
Yeah, it was about 1,100, I think, is generally what they were starting at. Yeah, like 1,000 or 1,100.
I thought it was sold for 1,200. So, but I mean, listen, if he's doing his own characters, right, and he was at the show. I mentioned to you, right, Tyler, right, is that when I went up to ask his people about what he does, he was only doing remarks of Invincible and Omni-Man.
Yeah,
and that's it. He wouldn't. So, because I had him on my list to try and see what kind of remark he could put on the Superman. But they said, no, he's only doing Invincible and Omni-Man, which makes sense, right? He knows how to do it. He can do it quickly. He's got so much to do while he's there. He just at least wants to do something, but he's not going to give free reign to anybody.
Yeah.
It also seems like he took a lot of commissions too, because I've seen him posting some full-on sketch covers that he did for the show.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, his commissions, like you said, it's one of those ones where they're not, it's either, for most of the ones it seems like he takes are full on, covers where he's filling it out and stuff. It's not just, like a head bust or something like that. Not that I'm sure he maybe wouldn't do that, but yeah, it was the same last year with Gert. So
you guys missed it. Whenever his first Whatnot show, he was selling bust commissions for $300 a piece, and there was it was only 3 or 4 people on there that actually bought them. And he would draw them live on the show, and I know there's a bloody Spider-Man and an Invincible, but I thought, man, how different, a year and a half on Whatnot, where if he put something like that up, it's breaking 4 digits every time.
And it's it's interesting too, because it seems like a lot of that stuff is the overseas collectors who aren't able to make it to the conventions, because you'll see the same names, kind of like you brought up earlier with Dustin and stuff. It's the same names you're seeing getting those sketches and commissions and stuff, which is cool, I get, but also like I said, I'm more of one where I want everybody to have art. That's just getting 1 or 2 people over and over again, to me is a little bit unfair, but again, that's just the price of Whatnot.
I have to as the wall of Skottie art behind me.
I know, yeah, but
sorry guys.
I know, yeah, you're hoarding it all, yeah, but
I apologize. He is hoarding it all.
Exactly, yeah.
He won't tell us where he lives.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll weasel my way into the will at some point,
reasons.
and I'll get half of the half of the Scotties at least. So
yeah, that's the only way I got Tyler to be on the show with me, is to promise him. So.
Oh, I will say I'll point at the hat too. So I did get him to sign the I Hate Fairyland, the Gert hat. So I wanted his signature up there with Skottie's, and I told him that I'm going to start doing it to where I'm going to collect all the I Hate Fairyland artists. So my next goal is to get Derek Loffman's signature on here, and then maybe hopefully Nate's as well, and John's their colorist. So
Good idea.
Yeah.
but no, it was. No, go ahead.
The comment here by Ryan, right, about how the Spider-Man looked better in person on the camera. I'll tell you, everything that I saw in person, including the stuff that I picked up and the stuff on these artist tables, it is much more, even things posted on Instagram as pre-done sketches. The art in person is so much more vibrant, and so it just looks 100% better in person with all of this stuff. It was actually pretty shocking to me about some of the stuff I had seen on Instagram before that people said, "Hey, I'm bringing this to the show," but you see it in person, and it was jaw dropping sometimes.
Yeah, no, and like you said, it's super fun, and it was super fun getting to go through Brett's sketches that he bought, his pre-done one, the comics that he had, one in particular, because he did it like 1 or 2 days before he did the Scrooge McDuck, and I was like, man, you're just like making it so much more difficult to pick what I'm going to get from you. And that was one of the ones that actually sold, because I went back like the next day and I was just asking, I was like, just wanting to look at it again. They're like, actually, I think that one's sold. And I was like, that's fine. I mean, that's good, to know that it's sold. But yeah, I mean, and it's something I definitely want to take more. I love Artist Alley, but like you said, just getting to walk by the comic artist booth and seeing the commissions they're working on, or seeing the stuff they do. Because again, it's not to say that, the stuff that you see isn't good, but for example, Derek Hunter, I didn't know his work as well. And seeing him do the art verses with Brett, the zombie that he did, I was like, I really like that zombie, because some of the other stuff he has, he shows off is a little bit different style, or just, not as quite like that. So it's always super fun to then be like, ooh, maybe I do, and I think I saw somebody, I think it was you or somebody else who got a Derek, or a commission from them of Carl with like a shot, like, something from Walking Dead. So maybe not yourself, maybe it was on, I think, another person on the Facebook group that got that one. But yeah, no, it was, and like I said, and two, just being able to talk to these guys, because I talk their ears off. I always do that until they like, hey, go away, please. But again, they were super nice, and it was Brett, Derek, and Ryan. So I was speaking with Derek when Ryan got done with his panel, and he came up talk with Brett. I was talking with Derek, and then Ryan came up talk with Derek, and that's when the whole like fireball thing got brought up. And again, just being able to like talk to these people who I greatly admire their artwork and the stuff they work on in the industry. And again, they're such they're celebrities, because they're so well known. It's it's different than like TV or movies, because again, they're like behind the scenes people. But again, being a behind the scenes person myself in the art world as well, it's so cool to see them in person. And like you said, everyone I talked to and have seen at Megacon was like super nice. And I made sure to ask Brett that. I was like, hey, hopefully you had a great time and hopefully you'll come back. And it sounded like, he was definitely wanting to come back again and do that. So yeah, no, it was a great haul. I'm super happy with the additions, and I can't wait I'm gonna get some comic capsules is what I've decided I'm gonna do with the two comics from Ryan and Brett. So it won't be CGC, because again, they can only confirm the signature at least with Ryan. So I was like, I don't need I don't need it sealed. I just want it at least somewhat more safe than just displaying it on the shelf with the comic bag and board. So.
Yeah, I actually just got a bunch of those comic capsules for the same reason, to put some of this stuff in.
It was
really nice. You saw I was carrying around that Superman piece
okay,
to keep it sturdy in the backpack.
Yeah, and it was funny too, because when Brett got there the first day, and he just had his comics, boarded and bagged and displayed and stuff. And then when I came back, I think it was like the next day, he had him in those comic capsules, and it was because his art rep was like, dude, put these in comic capsules. Like, you need to have this and stuff. You can't just, willy-nilly just have them out, if you want to sell them and stuff. So I'd seen them before. I hadn't seen them in person. So I was like, oh, I really like these. They're tight. They just display the comics. So I was like, cool. So yeah, I'm hopefully going to get those in soon. And then I've finally got in my archival Mylar bags, backing boards, all that stuff for displaying art. So I'm gonna get those in my 13x19 Itoya, and that way they'll be properly displayed, and that way I can also look at them rather than just being in the box they are currently until I can get them framed. So.
All right. Well, guys, before we go on to the next slide, I will say this is like a very special kind of purgatory to be stuck between you two and seeing all this great art that was got. And I'm just sitting here like, congratulations, guys.
Well, and now that we have Dre in the chat, he was also the inspiration for that jam piece because he did one at New York Comic Con with the Justice League, and
yeah,
I was like, that's a great idea. I'm going to do that.
I'm gonna say, yeah, I've seen the jam pieces before, and again, it's not like I wasn't open to it. But like you said, when you see somebody else do it, so like seeing yours, I'm like, I needed to do that. But I want to do an I Hate Fairyland one, and I want to do Gert in that, or like even just characters from the world, because there's a lot of other characters besides Gert that I think are cool. So I think that'll maybe be a goal, maybe next year or at some point to get a one like that. So.
Amen to that, brother. Amen.
Well, yeah, and you see people do that all the time, right? They'll just do the same, like they'll get a Wonder Woman blank, and they'll just have a bunch of artists do their take on Wonder Woman, and I think those are cool too.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, whether
Right.
you're getting the same character or different characters, in that universe, and
Spider-Man, I see that a lot too.
Yeah, Spider-Man, yeah, like the Todd McFarlane one that they had done that jam piece.
Mm-hmm.
So
there was a guy, Justin. There was a guy when I was getting the Chris Campagna piece. He had a giant poster. I can't even call it a poster.
The Marvel one?
Yeah, it was a Marvel logo, and he basically had been going around for like 30 years getting every single Spider-Man artist or writer or anything to sign it and do a remarks on. I mean, the thing was front and back, had to have hundreds of remarks.
It was a massive one, right? Like the like 30.
Massive.
That guy is like a legend. Like I've seen him posted before, and funny enough, I also saw him, and I was like, holy crap! I was like, that's that guy I've seen online who has that Marvel poster that's signed by like you said, hundreds of artists on it. So
yeah, forward that to me if you ever see that picture again, because I don't think I've seen that. I'd like to see that.
Chris Campagna actually pointed out to me, because he's like, the guy was standing there talking to him, and he's like, this guy had me sign that before I had ever done Spider-Man. But he told me, I know you're going to do Spider-Man, so I want you to sign it now. And a couple years later, he did Spider-Man.
Pretty good foreshadowing there. Yeah. Well done. Seth, this is the portion of the show where Tyler's eyes roll in the back of his head and he pulls magic out of the air. So whenever I see
let me see if I can pull this up and show it off quick.
Is this where we talk about Disney stuff now?
Exactly,
no. Yeah, don't say that. Don't say that. We'll stop.
Everything just goes downhill from here.
Yeah. Now, I love it when Tyler does that, because I know he's about to show something good or give some good knowledge. That's why.
I don't have sharing privileges yet. That's not for guest stars.
No. It is. We just disabled it for you. So. No, it's funny that Dre popped on, because Dre was the first person that we ever did this. And it took like 15 shows to have another member of the group join us. So we must have did something really poorly on that show with Dre, but nah. Well, I was waiting to. Well, while we're waiting, I'll just go. This was my one haul for Megacon for not even being there. And Tyler, I'm not sure if you've still got it or if it's wrapped up yet or not, but I had contacted Brett about getting a page from issue 20 of I Hate Fairyland, and there was only 3 or 4 pages that were previewed on Image, and this is one of the pages that was previewed. And I wanted a page that had Gert and Dorothy on it, so this was one of the ones that was previewed that had both of them on it, and Brett had it available. And I thought, man, I don't want Tyler or Seth to get this before I do. So I contacted Brett and said, hey, Tyler will pick it up at the show. And then I had to contact Tyler and say, hey, do you mind picking this up at the show? And if he would have said no, I would have been kind of up a creek. But no, Tyler was very.
You didn't want me to pick it up because I might not have given it to you.
Absolutely not. But yeah, this was the piece. Unfortunately, this was the only page from issue 20 that was brought to the show. So
he did, yeah. I asked him, and yeah, he didn't want to spoil it for anybody. So,
and like I said, this was one of the preview page that Image puts out, so it wasn't a spoiler for anybody. But and I will use this. Will I? No, I'll wait.
No, I was gonna say he was super cool about it. We did have to like confirm because he wanted to make sure, that this was specifically the page that you had gotten. So we had to like message and wait for Wi-Fi to get there in the building because it was pretty bad even on Thursday. But thankfully, you finally confirmed it, and then you also had your the sketches you had gotten, but you got those through CGC, so those were going through his more great art. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's in the box. It's ready to go. I've got it hopefully wrapped just as well as John does. Barring like the hard, like
Yeah.
not palette, but whatever those things are, because I don't have any extra ones, unfortunately. But yeah, hopefully nothing happens to it on the way to you, and it's in the Skottie packaging, so you'll know.
If it's in the Skottie
First I'm
packaging,
hearing that there's more sketches going to Dustin. I'm very upset. Very upset.
I know. I've sat here and did the woe is me this whole time, and then
Yeah, I'm
Tyler
very
gets
upset
that part out. So, now it was 2 of the pages for more great art, 2 of the comic covers for more great art, and I'd asked more great art to apply CGC to them, so that's why Brett was bringing them there to drop those off. And
Go ahead.
What's up?
Sorry.
No, go on.
I had to avoid some of Brett's table towards the later Saturday and Sunday because there were so many of his sketch covers that were just still sitting there. And
I know. I was unfortunately surprised. I was like, man, those things deserve to be just like, if I had the funds, I would have just been like, yeah, I'll take the lot. I'll take all of them.
Yeah, we saw him post one of the Star Wars characters. I know.
Oh, yes, the Mon Calamari. Yes, or not Mon Calamari.
Was it the
I
Hammerhead?
realized, yeah, that.
I don't know that.
I'm blanking on its name. It's in my memory banks. But I told him, I was like, man, as soon as I saw that, I was like, it was another one of those triggers, like you said, Seth, when you see something where I'm like, man, you would be the perfect artist to get Star Wars aliens drawn because your style is so, cartoony and fun.
Right, the one I saw was a Sabine Wren because I sent it to Dre. I'm like, you have to get this.
The Sabine Wren, yeah, he was working on that when I stopped at his booth once, and I was like, "That's so awesome!"
Yeah,
like, that's
that somebody from Clan McDonald Comics had commissioned that one through the
Ithorian. That's what it is. They're Ithorians, so you're good now, or Dustin, I think so.
Yeah, it started. Y'all started spinning on me, and I was like, "Oh crap!" But yeah, I saw someone from Clan McDonald Comics that put up like a commission op with Brett for Megacon, and the Sabine was one of the ones that they had asked for. So that was cool to see that one come to life. And I will say, guys, and I haven't told either one of you this, I do have another piece coming from Megacon, and it's part of a bigger package deal. And I told Tyler a little bit about something, but it's not what I told you about. It's something else, and I will show it on a later show. How's that for? Keep our 6 viewers.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. The woe is me is becoming less and
all
less.
This power bar was low, and the finishing moves. I don't believe it for a minute.
Yep, I'm a poker player sandbagger. So all right. So man, me and Tyler had talked about this. This show could have been literally 3 different shows. We had Megacon, we had the in the swan song of I Hate Fairyland issue 20. And then we had Skottie where he went, crazy answering questions on Saturday in an Ask Me Anything session. And I believe he ended up answering close to 50 questions, and the people were really
a lot, yeah.
For him. So Tyler, did I do you for? Yeah, we're just going to highlight 2. Me and Tyler had picked 2 each that we wanted to talk about tonight, and we'll probably hit them up later on because we're already. Oh, good gracious, we're already at an hour and a half. Tyler.
Yeah. No, they'll be quick, but no, yeah, I loved you had asked this when are we going to get some interior pages again, and when we talked in a previous show, I had high hopes that we would get interior pages sooner probably rather than later, just because again with not feeling the daily sketches as much and stuff, and wrapping up some of the other comics like I Hate Fairyland and Ain't No Grave and stuff like that. I was like, man, I'm sure he's itching to get back to it, and lo and behold. He answered it and was like, yep, this is the #1 priority for 2025 is a comic he's working on, both writing and interior pages again. So I'm greatly looking forward to that one. Cannot wait to see whatever it is. And then the other one that I really love was what crossover would you see I Hate Fairyland collide with? And my favorites off that list were Black Science. I absolutely love Black Science. I know he's friends with those guys. And then
is that Mateo? Is that's
yeah, Mateo, yep, yeah. So yeah, and funny enough, my friend who got me in on that comic has still yet to finish that comic himself, which I give him such a hard time for. If he's listening, I hope he finishes that series because it's such a good series. But Hellboy, Deadpool, Batman, all those other ones. I also wanted to point out the Invisible. I don't know if that was meant to be Invincible or if there is one that's invisible, but I would love to see.
Gotta be Invincible.
Yeah, I was like, it's got to be Invincible, and he just did it quickly. So yeah, I mean, I know again, him and Ryan are great friends. I would love to see a crossover like that. So, and we've seen Spawn at least for the cover, that kind of stuff. But to be able to see Gert pop up in these other comics would be super super fun. So these are at least my two favorite.
To jump on what Seth had suggested you do with like Invincible and Gert with Brett, I think now you need to go to artists that are famous for drawing Spawn, they're famous for drawing Deadpool, and have Gert eating the living tar out of each and every one of them. That could be like your running commission going forward.
I'll just say, yeah, I guess that's fair. Yeah, like if it doesn't officially happen, then I can at least make it happen, and Skottie can live vicariously at the moment through through that. So, now that'd be a super fun way to do that.
All right. My two questions, and this pertains to a lot of people. I'm sure they get asked this probably at least once a day. When are the Gerts going to be released that were found in Skottie's storage center? And I don't know if Megan may know, but I don't know if even Skottie knows at this point. But
Skottie, I don't know if you saw that one, but he had that specific question, and Skottie was like, "Megan knows,
Okay,
so
that's
only Megan, only Megan knows that question."
I thought I saw that answer somewhere, but that's why you're right. That was on one of the AMA questions.
Mm-hmm.
But
there was one or two of these that I thought came directly from Megan. Like one of them was, "How awesome is Megan?"
Oh yeah, that way. Yeah, they were like, so who's the most important person on the team, and why is it Megan and why?
Right.
Yeah, I was like, that's great. So
yeah.
Well, these were all anonymous too. Like you had no idea who was asking the questions. So,
right.
So you're exactly right. I didn't even think about that, but that would be funny if it was. And if it was someone just trying to suck up to the Super Fresh Mess team, it was anonymous, so Megan didn't see it. So, but Megan the Legend, that is exactly correct.
I wrote a little kiss up message on one of my CGC pieces that I sent.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, on the Superman one that you like. I wrote on the blue tape, hey, and I described it and say, oh, and by the way, Megan is awesome. I knew that one would come back good.
Nice. That's really good. That was clever. Well done. Well played.
Send some cookies with it. You're like, these are for Megan, not you, Skottie.
But the second part of that question is, or the answer to that, it's not second part of the question, second part of the answer. But we are looking into doing new ones, so that would be awesome to get new Gert statues.
I would love that. Yeah, I would love to see, especially if that means like original, or maybe we get a Brett Bean style one, or whatever that entails. I'm super excited for and can't wait to see. Hopefully we get a few of them. Honestly, I would love for like a few of the characters, Larry, Duncan, Gert. Like give me a few of them. Yeah,
Duncan. I think because you've all seen the Batman black and white statues where they do Batman by the different artists, like the statues. They have a Todd McFarlane, all these other characters, Mike Mignola. They have all these different characters. I like that idea, Tyler, of having Gert done by, Brett, by Derek, by all the untold tales of Fairyland.
Yeah, there's some wild characters they made in those. I really want the guy with the massive nipples. I don't remember what his name was, but that's the one I want a statue of.
As a keychain holder.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's hard to segue against, once you say massive nipples on our show, it's all downhill from
here. And then now, just cut it. Just cut the feed, yeah.
Seth, what have you done to our show?
I've been looking for that statue for a long time, and the only one I ever found was like damaged, and it's still sold within like 5 minutes of being posted. And so I've been looking for that for a while, and I got really excited when I saw they found some in storage. But if they're going to come out with new ones, I'd much rather spend money on a new one than however much they're going to put those older ones.
Oh, those are going to go for thousands. Those are going to go towards, I'm sure they're saving. I was telling Dustin at an earlier point, I'm sure they're going to save them for a fundraiser or, something like that for a good cause. Kind of like the TMNT stuff, maybe, where it's like, they'll start high, or if they auction them, they'll go higher. So, yeah, it's crazy.
I think with pieces like that, it's probably better to auction them, because you're limiting yourself on how much you can sell them for. If you're raising them if you're doing them for charity or something.
Yeah, if you're doing it for charity or something like that, yeah.
Because I know Skottie and Megan, they could probably, I say I know, I'm assuming some of the stuff they sell in the shop that sells out within 10 seconds could probably get a higher price, but they keep it fair for, everybody, at least make it within earshot of everybody. But if you're doing it for a charity or for something special, have at it. It's raise as much money as we can, auction it off, and get the most you can for it, even if it means we're missing out on it.
I can't imagine how much a Skottie commission would auction for right now.
Oof, goodness, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we know he does it at Heroes, right? So I guess that's an example. That one was a giant one, but
was that 12K? What that one ended up going for, Tyler? I left.
Yeah, it was. I think it might have been over that one, that too. But yeah, it was close to that amount.
Yeah, and now the guy that bought it is a member of our group, Kevin, and he posted it. And yeah, I would be proud to display that. That was
went
such
all in on Skottie books. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some heavy hitters now, not even mentioning that piece alone. So
right on. And the second question, this was, believe it or not, this one was asked by me, and I had checked with Skottie to make sure it was okay asking it, because I didn't want his private information to be out there online. He's like, no, just ask away. But me and Tyler offline, we've had this discussion on several different shows where nobody's heard it. But how do you spell Skottie's name? I've never met a Skottie with an SK until this Skottie. And I was like, is that something he changed, like when he was doing more graffiti style?
Yeah, were you born with that? Did you change it?
Because you see people early on posting Skottie, Skottie, or Skotty. And I've always, me and Tyler were talking, is that a mistake? Did they do that on accident? Autocorrect, I think, as even Skottie had suggested. But, here we have it. He was born with a C and legally had it converted to a K. So he's Skottie for life legally with a K. So that was good to know if anybody's ever wondering. It's legit. He is Skottie legally.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. And it's such a subtle change, but one that's really cool because it does make it stand out. Like you said, you don't see Skottie with, a K. So, yeah.
And maybe me and Tyler were the only ones interested about that and having these discussions.
No, you see it so often with celebrities in Hollywood where, their stage names or their present, names are not ones that you get, in original, their birth name. So right. You don't see it as much, I feel like, with maybe comics and stuff, but cool to know, that that's still a thing that happens. So plus that picture was great. The one that they used to accompany with it, which it's funny because I remember having like the same haircut as a kid, like that bowl with like the bangs and everything. So yeah,
we legally had to have our haircut like that when we were like 7. The barber is a rite of passage. So.
Don't group me in with you. I'm not just because I don't have any hair. Just because I'm bald.
Hey Seth, I'm telling you right now, if I could have hair right now. Like this 7-year-old Skottie, I would take that haircut right now every day, and I would just flow it around like a fool. So
Me too.
Preaching to the choir.
I used to have long hair in high school. Did you? In high school,
man. Yeah. I've never had long hair before. So, how long did you? This is our Disney.
Now we're getting into Disney territory. Yeah.
How long was your hair?
I'm old. This is fun. This is fun for me. Usually I'm just typing away.
Yeah. Yeah, these rabbits we chase are something else. So
Tyler, I brought some right here.
Oh, I thought you were going to pull out pictures of you with long hair. I was getting excited for a second. But
no, I got my new Skotties. I did do some digging at Megacon. I didn't get much, but I got some good stuff. So I got these at Megacon.
Ooh, the Daredevil's nice. Yeah, the boy. So did you get those, I'm assuming, straight from Coliseum's booth then, the Bully Wars?
Yeah. Because I had called them before and thought they were out of stock, but then they had them at the booth. So
they I feel like they kind of like have back stock that they don't. I'll see them occasionally, throughout since I frequent, the store, and occasionally I'll see some more. So I'm like, I don't know if like you guys just had extra stock or they maybe get reprinted.
This one's definitely for Dre. I know this is like his favorite cover, and I saw it and I was like, I want to buy it. I'm gonna sell it back to him. I'm gonna trade him. I'm trading him for his and the Pet Avengers.
I will say I didn't get it. I was tempted at Brent's booth where he was, his booth that he works at. They had a Morbius for sale, and then they also had the what if Deadpool was Venom, and I was super tempted by that one. If I hadn't already gotten like my multiple commissions from Brett, then I would have been tempted to buy that one. So
what was it priced at, Tyler? I'm curious what
it was 200. So it honestly was pretty reasonable. I don't know like the grade they would have given it, but at least from afar it looked pretty decent. So I mean that's generally what I see online for that. Generally more for ungraded version, but yeah, I was tempted to be like, hey Brent, would you lower that a little? Like, could I get that? So, but I don't know him that well, so I was like, I'm not gonna ask and push it. So
I can ask him for you.
Yeah,
he's not here. He's in our group.
Man,
Brent's fine. I got Brent a spawn while he was working the desk, so he owes me.
There you go.
Right. My Skottie
very nice.
Little Spider-Man on chimney. But I was excited about this, and then I saw Megan or Skottie one had posted that they got the Silver Surfer and the Mysterio one, and I haven't got those yet. So
that one shipped early, right? That wasn't supposed to be out yet.
It was out of order because it should have been much later. Mysterio was on pre-order, a lot
before,
earlier.
Yeah. I also right. So I got this today, right? Have you guys gone to the LCS today?
No, I saved mine for the weekend. So I got to grab mine.
And this baby came in the mail also.
That one's really nice.
Second print version. Love this.
Oh, that's the second. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
The colors on these are just amazing.
Yeah, the colors are gorgeous. Yeah, mine's for the weekend. So I'll have to get my I Hate Fairyland and Spider-Man. So
I use Wednesdays as an excuse to leave work early.
That's fair. That's a good reason.
Good excuse, real good. Well, like you were saying, these are the books that came out today. Of course, Seth referenced the Amazing Spider-Man. What issue is this? Is this 67?
Yeah.
It's at the top of the screen, dork. Yes, I'm sorry, guys. I'll do that. Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 67, and then I Hate Fairyland 20. And I really want to get that cover of Brett, both of those, to get graded and signed by Skottie and Brett.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that was supposed to be out last week, and I was really hoping to have it for Megacon, but I think they delayed it a week.
It might have, and I'm not sure what all was going on with the diamond, how it affected the shipment dates, but yeah, I think a week ago or so when we looked it up, we saw that it was coming on right after Megacon. It's like, man, that's a shame, because that would have been a great one to take to get Brett's mind.
Yeah, I forgot to show. I didn't take pictures of them, but that is some of the other stuff that I did was I got Brett to sign.
Cool.
Some of the covers. I got some of my favorite ones. Of course, the Skottie one, is a great one.
Yes.
The one that he has the original art for, or Skottie has the original art for. The ones I thought were really fun though were I got number one, but also I got, so since I have a few of the interior pages, I had him sign the outside, but I also had him sign the page that I have the interior art for on the inside as well, which he was like, well, that's good for me to know. So then if I ever want those pages back, I know who to, request them from. But I told Dustin, I hadn't posted online yet, but Brett told me a really cool detail about his signature, and that the fact that you get these two little dots on either side of his name, which represents two beans, which represent his two kids. And I was like, that is the most adorable little detail to a signature I've ever, seen or heard from an artist before. So I was like, that's really cool. That's like really special to be able to like, hey, like, for your kids, like, hey, you see those signatures? Like, you guys are represented here when I sign all my art. So.
And Tyler, whenever he posted his newsletter saying goodbye today, or the newsletter that Brett Bean posted, talking about, that came out right before Skottie's.
Yeah.
At the bottom of his page, he had his signature, and you could really see the beans, like really, really close up. It's kind of blown up in the email. And I thought of that story.
Brett has a newsletter too?
Yeah, Substack. Yeah, he also has a Substack. So yeah.
I'm not in that. Someone needs to forward me that one.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. It's great.
Check out Skottie's today, and he's got a link to Brett's Substack in his goodbye to Brett.
Okay.
They're about halfway down the page or halfway down the letter. So check it out. Yeah, check it out.
All right, I'm subscribed now. It's official.
Sweet.
All right. Another subscription. Nothing new this week.
Coming up, yeah.
But these are the two big things that hit the shop. I did not realize Volume 1 was completely sold out and there was going to be no more reprints. So
Yeah.
that was confirmed by John and Megan that Volume 2 is about to sell out. So all they will have left is Volumes 3 and 4. So I'd put off buying Volumes 1 and 2 until they launched the new shop. So, gosh, I'm glad I didn't put them off too long because I just took for granted that they would be there for longer. But make sure and pick up Volume 2 if you haven't yet.
Yeah, no, they're super awesome. Yeah. I still need to post my pictures. So,
Tyler, I believe this is your new favorite cover, issue 69 there.
Yeah,
did you say that one like surpassed all the other ones that you liked, or is this up there or just not?
It's up there. Yeah, it gets close. The Itsy Bitsy Spider, yeah, is still my personal favorite. But yeah, right. the details in this one, the electro mask, and then again the fact that he decided to put the webbing on the skeleton was such a silly detail. But I was like, it makes this piece even better. So now this one's definitely up there for sure. In my top. When we do our one, I'll be curious to see where it finally lands. But I would say top 3, 4 for sure. So.
Yeah, I think when I do my ranking, I'm just going to have to pull them one at a time and like shuffle them up and down and then probably move some more. Seth, what's your favorite one so far, or do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I did like the Itsy Bitsy Spider one and this one too, because I think you're right. This one had so many just little tidbits just drawn into it that I didn't even notice the webbing at first.
Yeah.
And then, I first thought, I was like, oh, that's really funny. And then I saw the electro mask was actually the kite. So that was funny. It's just the little bits that he's putting into this stuff to me is just, it's beyond my comprehension of how a creative does that.
It is the details. The details are so great.
You can tell he's having a really fun time with them. Like it definitely seems, and especially with like the backgrounds and everything. Because like again, he doesn't always add that kind of stuff, but it seems like these sets that he's been doing recently, like the Absolute Batman, this one, like he's been having a really fun time. And especially coming up with the ideas. I'm sure that's the like most fun part is what ways can you think of to kill off Spider-Man. So.
I've got one more, guys.
Uh-oh.
All right, Heroes 2025. Yeah, that was a throwback to the very first of the show. So anyway, Heroes 2025 potential fan meetup. Seth, as of right now, are you planning on coming to Heroes, or did Megacon where you at?
As of this morning, I made a hotel reservation, but I couldn't. That was only because you told me to, just to have it reserved, just in case.
Right.
Nice.
So I did that. I got the cheapest room, only one king bed. So.
Maybe we'll have like the connecting doors and we can,
You'll just slip art underneath, like, hey, check out what I got today. And then Seth steals and it's like, wait, no, give that back. That's mine.
Yeah.
Right. So I think if Skottie's there, I'm definitely seriously thinking about going. If he's not, I'm not so sure. But I did make that hotel reservation.
Man, I heard somebody else say that before, Tyler. That sounds pretty close to a conversation me and Tyler had. So
listen, again, I would probably go regardless if Skottie wasn't there, but he's definitely a big pull, especially for bringing that art book back. Like I didn't get nearly enough time to flip through the original art that he had last time. So I'm like, if you bring that stuff back, yeah, 100% I'm going to go and see what I can grab. So
great. That means I need to buy the VIP passes to get in an hour.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm going to be there like hours before. Exactly.
Seth, I'm going to tell you right now at Heroes, it won't matter if you buy VIP passes because exhibitor badges, there's already lines for people with exhibitor badges before you get in the show.
Well, then I need to find one of those too.
You need to find one of those.
No,
you don't need to find one of those. Can't let you get all of our art. That's
it's okay. I've got a secret weapon. I got Zach here, who I'm begging for him to convince his family to go to PlanetCon.
That'd be cool.
So he can live stream me the art that's there.
Becker, that was on here earlier, he lives in Kansas City, so he'll be going to PlanetCon. So hopefully, if Zach goes and Becker goes, at least we can have some pictures from the show and maybe have one of them on, or at least have them in the chat to share that with us. So I'm glad you said that, Seth. Hopefully you can talk him into it. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, I hope you don't get any art from Skottie there, but I hope you can talk him into it. And
I priced out the flights and the hotels there too. Trust me.
Okay.
Too soon.
Now, I really hope you can come to Heroes, because if we have a meetup there and it's just me and Tyler, it's kind of sad. But at least if we have 3 people, it won't be as sad. So
There you go.
But hopefully some of you, the guys in the comments that tune in every week, can pop in there and come to Heroes, and we can make it a fun little show.
4 months might be enough time to sort of recharge.
I have, recharge the body, the mind, the spirit, and the
Get
wallet.
my tax return and see what happens. Right.
But mine's just recharging the wallet. That's the only thing I need to recharge.
Yes.
So
I'm right there with you. And if Seth's like me, what can I put on eBay to raise some money for Heroes? Will be my
no, it's a good
April, May, and June goal. So all right, guys, that was a fun show. I say it. That sounds weird when I say it. I shouldn't have said it that way. But thank you very much, Seth, for coming on. It was an absolute blast and an honor to have you on. Especially, we pick on you because we care, and hopefully you pick on us back because you care. So that's how you know you're friends with someone. So
yep. Let's do it again. This is fun.
Oh yeah. You got an open invitation. Sometime in 2026, you'll be more than welcome to come back on, and we'll enjoy it. All right.
Exactly.
Seth, Tyler will end the show, but Seth, you got anything else you want to say, and I'll shut up for the rest of the show.
No, I don't. I mean, I want to come on and discuss what we think his next exclusives are going to be, because I'm shocked it's already mid-February and we haven't gotten any yet. So I was convinced to myself that we would get one for Bug Wars, but that came out today.
Yeah. I was noticing that, but if he's working on, or his number one goal is interior pages again, I'm definitely thinking exclusives are going to be taking a hit for sure. So.
Well, I'll say I'll shut up, and I can't do it. But it would be fun to see Skottie do an exclusive for Brett's new series for Image when it comes out.
That's true. That would be really awesome. Yeah.
No doubt.
I would love that. Yeah.
But, yeah. Seth, you can come back on when we do that show, because that'll be fun to hear that. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah.
Tyler, whatever you want to do, bud.
No, I think it was Ryan who's coined our new outro, but as we like to stay here, stay fresh and live messy is our new slogan, signing out. So yeah, thank you all for being here, and it was a blast getting to go to Megacon, but then also talk about it with Seth and Dustin. But we'll catch you guys next week for our next show.